Right now on Denver 7 News at 5 a.m., home prices in the Denver metro are finally going down. The good news for those trying to break into the market, but we're also asking this morning, should we worry about those values dropping too much?
Also, bombarded by robocalls no more. The plan of attack from Colorado's Attorney General to clean up these unwanted calls.
And the Broncos vote to transfer ownership next week. We're breaking down why the Waltons are adding big names to their group just days before the change up. I mean, at this point, I thought maybe I could get in on the ownership or something. Throw in a couple bucks.
Condoleezza Rice and Lewis Hamilton and Nicole Brady, all part of the ownership group.
No, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good.
All right. Next time. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady. Katie is here with a look at the forecast. Yeah, just so many names on there.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to put your name in the hat, right? And outside this morning, we're waking up to mostly clear skies, very quiet conditions here across Colorado this morning. If you're heading out the door soon, temperatures are now in the 70s. We do have another air quality alert, though, in effect for the Front Range, north and east for today. So reduced air quality, all areas shaded here in gray until at least 4 o'clock this afternoon. Temperatures outside were at 69 degrees in Boulder and Fort Collins, up into the mountains, 40s and 50s to start your day. So calm and mostly clear early on, increasing cloud coverage. Temperatures this afternoon won't be as warm as what we've seen over the past couple of days. Very seasonal for this time in early August, in the high 80s to right around 90 degrees. Inglewood up through Congress Park down into Highlands Ranch. We'll be seeing a few isolated storms roll through, first starting in the foothills, then moving across the plains. But Jason, risk of any severe weather is low.
And the drive here around town looks pretty good. By the way, if you're going to be heading down to the Springs, this is I-25 right there before you get to South Academy on the south side of the Springs. It's all closed on the southbound side there at South Academy. You just run over to 85, so a little bit east, and then down to Mesa Ridge, and then back over to I-25. So it is a closure for a serious crash down there. Take a look at the drive here in Metro Denver. You see a lot of green for the most part. We still have that construction happening, the paving that's happening here on Pena Boulevard in and out of the airport. So you will see some delays out there with speeds dropping down into the 20s and 30s. That's going to be a project we're going to see for several months. The rest of the drive actually looks okay. As you can see, pretty much wide open anywhere you want to go. No lingering stuff on I-70 out to the west side of town. We still have this water valve replacement project happening on Leetsdale with a lane open, lane closed between Quebec and Monaco.
Thank you, Jason. Well, new this morning, a shift in the housing market here. A just released report finally has some good news for home buyers in the Denver metro.
Yeah, the big headline here, prices are going down. It's the most significant month-to-month drop we've seen in over a year. And local realtors say they're starting to see a shift in the market. Denver 7's Jessica Crawford has been going through the new numbers. So Jessica, what are the big takeaways from this report?
Well, just like you and Brian said, Nicole, the housing market in Denver sure has shifted, but the Denver Metro Association of Realtors is still calling it a seller's market, but saying that things are looking a lot more hopeful for buyers. So here's a look at the numbers. They show active listings are up 21% from a month ago, with more than 5,600 active listings. Prices are still expensive, but they're down about 3% from last month. The average closing price is just over $781,000, and the close price to list price is just over 100%. So that means that some people are paying below the list price, and some sellers are even helping out buyers in the face of these high interest rates.
Sellers are being creative on how to provide opportunities to buyers. And one of that is to buy down that interest rate for a potential buyer and therefore making their monthly payment less. And then it's a closing cost that the seller can take on and everyone can win.
But even with this progress, there are still not very many houses available in Denver. In fact, Denver has one of the lowest vacancy rates in the entire country. I'm Jessica Crawford, Denver 7.
Interesting. All right. Thank you, Jessica. If you already live in Denver, you are facing tough competition from out-of-state buyers. A study from Redfin found out-of-towners could spend nearly 12% more for their home purchase than locals. As we look at the numbers here, you can see the average maximum budget for locals is just under $880,000. And yeah, that still seems like a stretch for a lot of people. Well, look at this. Out-of-towners, they have a maximum budget almost $110,000 higher. So as home prices fall, what if you just bought a house, or if you're thinking of doing so soon? Should you wait? Should you worry? Maybe not yet. Redfin says the most risky markets for a housing downturn right now are Riverside, California, Boise, Idaho, Cape Coral and Northport, Florida, and Las Vegas. Denver came in 34 on this list after places like Austin, Los Angeles, Portland, Oregon, and San Diego. Breaking news this morning, President Biden will sign a second executive order today meant to address the recent Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The order directs the Health and Human Services Department to consider using funds, including Medicaid, to support women who travel out of state for abortion services.
As midterm elections approach, 5 primary contests are setting up some of the biggest battlegrounds for November. Carrie Lake, an election denier backed by former President Trump, won Arizona's GOP primary for governor. The race turned into a proxy war of sorts between Trump and Mike Pence. The former vice president backed a different candidate in that race. In Michigan, Representative Peter Meijer became the second of 10 Republicans who voted to impeach Trump to be ousted in a primary. Trump endorsed John Gibbs, who also backed the former president's lies about widespread election fraud. And Republicans in Missouri are breathing a sigh of relief after State Attorney General Eric Schmidt won the wide-open Senate primary. He was facing another Eric, though, former Governor Eric Greitens, who was attempting a political comeback after a sex scandal and accusations of abuse and campaign misconduct.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is continuing her Asian tour after leaving Taiwan just about an hour ago. While you were sleeping, Pelosi and a congressional delegation met with Taiwan's president. Pelosi is the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit the island nation in 25 years. American leaders say the trip does not change U.S. policy on China and Taiwan. The U.S. acknowledges Beijing's position that Taiwan is part of China, but it doesn't accept the Communist Party's claim of sovereignty over the self-governing island. Pelosi said her trip was a show of support from the U.S. for Taiwan.
We come in friendship. We thank you for your leadership. We want the world to recognize that.
Pelosi also has stops planned in Korea and Japan in the coming days. Well, it's day 7 of Broncos training camp, and unfortunately they've had a stroke of bad luck. We are rooting for wide receiver Tim Patrick this morning after learning he tore his right ACL during team drills, and he now sadly is out for the season. Patrick was catching a pass from Russell Wilson when it happened. He's the latest Bronco to be taken out by the same injury. Back in 2020, Courtland Sutton also tore his ACL while making a tackle against the Steelers in Week 2 of the season. And in 2021, KJ Hamler was out after Week 3's game against the Jets.
All of this comes as the Broncos are adding Formula One champion Lewis Hamilton to its ownership group. He's on a growing list, though, just a week before NFL owners vote to transfer ownership officially. Also joining the Walton family is Condoleezza Rice and Melody Hobson, the chair of the Starbucks board. So besides just investing money to make money for the Broncos, we talked with sports business expert Professor Mark Rosentraub about why so many people have been added to the group in recent weeks.
If you want to be an owner of a major league sports team, the best way to do it is to start as a minority owner and then work your way up.
Yeah, and $4.5 billion price tag collectively. The NFL has also said it wants more diversity in its ownership ranks. All 3 new members of the ownership group are black.
When we think about NFL ownership, it is very, for lack of a better term, very white, and for the longest time, very male. But when you think about diversity, it adds creativity, it adds innovation, it adds new ideas to, it adds more experiences.
Yeah, we're all excited to see what this group can do with the team. NFL owners will meet next Tuesday to vote on finalizing the Broncos sale to this new and growing ownership group. Well, there are few things as annoying as robocalls, and now Colorado is doing something about it. Our Attorney General is forming a group to go after the companies that allow those calls to reach our phones. Denver 7's Christian Lopez explains how the new effort will make sure we don't have to hear about our car's warranty expiring again.
Yeah, Brian, and I pulled the numbers, and Coloradans got 65 million robocalls in June alone. That is more than 90,000 an hour. And what really hits home is that individually we get about 11 robocalls a day. So Attorney General Phil Weiser said that he is joining 50 other attorney generals, and this is all part of a nationwide effort. And they are going to be cracking down on these illegal calls. So they're going to take legal action against telecommunication companies that are responsible for these calls. They're focusing on shutting down the providers that profit from these scams. Some tips to avoid these unwanted calls are to just be aware of callers who specifically are asking you to pay by gift cards, wire transfer, or cryptocurrency. Look out for pre-recorded calls from imposters who are posing as government agencies. And if you suspect any fraudulent activity, just hang up and don't give them any more information. And the Attorney General's office, they have a website where you can report these fraudulent calls, and we'll link that to thedenverchannel.com. Live this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Uber is introducing new features for the benefit of drivers. How the rideshare app changes could affect your odds of being picked up when you need to be.
And not only is our debt breaking the bank, it is breaking national records. With student loan payments set to resume here shortly, we'll explain your options to settle without the added stress.